Hello everyone. So, first off I want to say I'm sorry that it's been so long. I'm sure that you understand that I'm aware that, this channel isn't like a liability. It's not like I have to come back, but I do. I enjoy this channel. I do enjoy being here. I think the last time I uploaded was maybe 5 weeks ago. Anyways, I moved into college and it's been a lot to try to adjust to. So I hope that you understand that, and also it's hard to find time to record because I have a roommate and they don't know that I do this because I don't know, I'm nervous about admitting things like that, and I feel like it's really weird to just sit there and start recording something while your roommate is in the room. So also I want to say that because of the fact that I'm in a dorm, you're probably going to hear background noises in my videos from now on. I'm sorry about that. I wish that I could do something about it, but other people have to live here too, and I'm not gonna go knock on everyone's door and tell them to shut up because I'm recording a video, so I just have to deal with it. But I guess I'll start this video by just saying a summary of what's been going on since I left. I moved into college, as I said, and I'm the marching band because I was a marching band in high school and I loved it. So we've put together an entire show, and it's great. We've been working on starting our second show as well. It is very, very hard, but I am very dedicated to learning it. And as for my classes, some of them have been going well, some of the others not so well. I've kind of told myself that I'm okay with whatever grades I get this first semester because it's going to tell me what I'm really interested in. And what I've noticed is that I have a biology and a chemistry class. I actually really like the chemistry class, and I do pretty decent in it. And then I really don't like the biology class, and I'm passing in there, but I'm just, not finding that sense of fulfillment. So I might change things next semester to find a way around that. But that being said, I guess first thing I'd like to say is, it's the first thing, it's been 5 minutes. The first thing I would like to say directly to all of you is thank you to anyone who waited. I know that I said I'd come back a couple weeks ago, and I meant to, but things got in the way, so I'm sorry it took me so long, but I hope you understand. I missed all of you guys. I love you guys and your support, and I love being here. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start this by saying that I don't have any kind of script for this just because it's much harder to find time to really be able to write one now. But I usually don't write things word for word anyways. It's usually just bullet points. So if I can go through it in my head, then I think we'll still be okay. But the topic for today that I thought about talking about is rejection, because just being honest, something that a lot of femboys do is they look for love. And while there's nothing wrong with being a straight femboy, obviously, many of us are not. I personally, I think I've said before, am pretty much pan, and I don't even like that label just because I don't really care. You can be a sponge. If I'm attracted to you, then I'm attracted to you, you know what I mean? But my personal experience with rejection is weird because I'm too honest for my own good if I'm putting it in the right way. And pretty much what I mean by that is that if I get feelings for someone, I tend to let it build up over a while, and then one day I wake up and it's just time. So I usually just tell them how I feel in the most honest manner possible, and 9 times out of 10 that ends in a rejection, and that's okay if I'm being honest. That was kind of weird of me whenever I used to do that, but the best way I can describe it is I would just observe them because I'm an observant person. I swear it's not stalking. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch someone through their daily lives, but if they're already in my life, then I don't know, I might just focus on them a bit more. And over time I note those things and I write them down, and then I tell them those things. I had my one relationship which I don't talk about anymore, and then after that I did that to I think 3 people. One of them accepted me and we got together, but I slowly realized that and I think I've mentioned this before, that I didn't really, I didn't have the feelings for them that I thought I did. I just wanted someone to be there. So I cut that off because I didn't want to do anything bad. And since I got here, I kind of realized that it's a completely different pool of people, and that has its negatives, but I mainly see it as a lot of positives, that I finally have a chance to really understand what I'm doing. And I started looking around, not just actively, left and right, scanning everything for people, but if I saw someone that I thought I'd be interested in, then I made note of it in my head and just kept my eye on them until, I realized that maybe I should or should not make a move. And this had happened with a girl in one of my classes. No, it was a girl I saw in the cafeteria. And so I passed them up and I sat down, glanced over at them a few times, and I wanted to step over there and say something then, but I kind of thought that would be weird, especially in a public place, so I stepped out, but I realized that I was going to regret not doing anything, so I waited on them to come out, and I walked up to them. They turned around. Turned out it was not a girl, it was a guy, but I still, told them how I felt, and they said that they were already in a relationship. Instead of making me sad, this actually made me happy. I was happy for them, and I didn't have any problem with that. And that kind of ties into the general message that I want to get out about rejection in relationships, is that there's nothing wrong with just telling someone how you feel, in my opinion, and they should be able to respect that and understand that. And there's so much complexity to relationships that isn't talked about, and I think should be normalized more. The fact that you can have feelings for someone and they can acknowledge those feelings while still not doing anything about it, because that's no different than telling someone that you dislike them as a friend or that you don't like them at all. I mean, I hope you don't have anyone in your life like that, but I don't know you, so the point is that I think there should be more variety in that. But in the sense of rejection, a lot of people get really scared to explain their feelings to anyone because they're afraid of rejection. What if they say no? What do you do then? And the answer is that you simply move on. And that sounds heartless, but it's the best thing to do. You don't want to bother them anymore because they don't want to be bothered. And generally, some people are okay with maintaining a relationship afterwards, and some people are not. It's a hard adjustment to make when you know that someone likes you, to be fair. But most respectable people can understand it, respect it, and just keep going. But when you end up getting rejected by somebody, you have to remind yourself that it's not suddenly a hopeless effort. You didn't just... yes, you could have lost the potential love of your life, but there are thousands and thousands of people that can fill that role. You have to think about the billions of people that live nowadays, and that there's so many different ways to get in contact with someone, whether you meet them in person, whether you meet them online, they're referenced through a friend, you find them on a forum somewhere, etc., etc. There's so many ways to contact pretty much anybody that you want to. And that leaves a lot of open opportunities, both good and bad. But the good ones are the ones that we're focusing on here, of course. I know from personal experience that it's difficult not to just get in your own head and surround yourself with these negative thoughts about how you're not wanted because you weren't accepted into that relationship. But that's not what somebody means when they reject you. That's not why rejection happens. It's just because they understand that this relationship wouldn't work out, that you don't see eye to eye perfectly on what you want or what you need in your life, and that's all that they're trying to communicate. A rejection doesn't necessarily mean I hate you, unless they say that, which would be very saddening, so I really hope no one in your life has done that. I guess I'm saying that we have to preserve the humanity in ourselves whenever something like that happens. Rejection hurts people's feelings. It's simple as that, but it's always important to remember that that is not the intention that someone has when they reject you, and they likely feel just as bad about it as you do, because nobody likes to have to tell somebody that they're not interested in it, because it sounds like you're not worth their time, but that's, again, not what they mean. A lot of what I'm saying right now is just to try and say that it should be more propelled as a positive thing. There should be something to learn from rejection. It shouldn't always be this daunting thing that threatens to hurt you and looms over your head and leaves you from going out and talking to people. I've seen a lot of people on online forums especially that will say, this person is so attractive, or I like so much about this person, or I think this person might even like me too, but I'm so scared to ask. The important thing to me is that you should ask, because in my mind anyways, it's better to know that things would have never worked out than to part ways with them some point in life and never see them again for the rest of your life, constantly wonder if it would have been so much better with them and if it would have worked out. It's a very difficult thing to do, to approach someone like that for a lot of people, but you should have the confidence to do it, because after all, it's a method of self-improvement. You're saying that you love this person enough that you want to pair with them and try to make both of your lives as good as possible, but it doesn't work for everyone, and that's okay, but you have to constantly test. If you're not going out and seeing if someone would work out with you, then you'll never know. And that's exactly what I did personally as well. I realized that that person just wasn't going to work out with me, and I moved on. I kept looking. And when I look for a person, of course, I think that it depends on who you are, but for me personally, yes, looks do matter to some extent. Unfortunately, it's a personal bias that I have. There are things that I do care about in someone's appearance, but a lot of it also comes down to their personality, because personality often can dictate appearance. Like if you have a certain lifestyle, if you consider yourself to be alt, or if you consider yourself to be, I don't know, a hipster or something, then you're going to dress and present yourself differently. And that's the same thing for femboys. I think that being a femboy can actually change your appearance in those ways, because now you're trying to appear more feminine, and you will appear more feminine if that's what you're going for. So really often when I am looking for someone appearance-wise, I'm looking for things in their appearance that correlate with things in my appearance. And I was sitting in my biology class, the greatest class in my college, and I had spotted someone that shared a lot of similarities. They were wearing a band shirt, they had black hair, they had more alt makeup on, and I'm not generally one who fixates on one type of people, but hey, goth is cool as well, so I saw them and I realized that we might share a lot of things in common, so I stopped them after class and asked them on a date, and they said yes. And we went on one, and just through having the courage to actually step out and do that, I found someone who I think that I'm really starting to connect with. And this isn't just me to talk to you about my self-improvement journey. This is me to try and give you things to learn from what I've experienced as well. People get too caught up in trying to find someone who's attractive enough or quote-unquote good enough for them, or that does the right things, when in reality, I think all that we're looking for is commonality. Now, it is important to make sure that your partner is not the exact same as you, unless that's what satisfies you, just because the variety and complexity of people is what makes them interesting in the first place. So I don't look for someone who is the exact same as me. I just look for someone who shares a lot of similarities, because they will also probably think similarly, and therefore we are able to work together on a lot of things. I know that I'm speaking about this in like this weird business presentation way, but as I said, I don't have a script, so I guess what I'm trying to say by that is we might both be able to find similar interests in new things as well. We might be interested in trying the same things, and therefore that will give more room for us to grow as people, because an important thing as well is that someone that you meet is never going to be the same person. They'll wake up the next day and something will be slightly different about them, and that's okay. But that's not what I look for. I don't look for what type of person someone is now. I look for the potential of what they will become in the future, the way that they will progress, because again, the position that someone is in at the moment will tend to show you their method of thinking and what way they're going to go afterwards. So the schizo rant aside, I'm pretty much saying that because I saw those things in her, I knew that she would be more, I guess, creative thinking is what I'm saying. Look, okay, a lot of this is just that I found her attractive, alright, and I thought she was cool, but I'm trying to to give you the deeper message behind it, because there are ulterior motives inside of my subconscious that I, for some reason, am not able to fully articulate right now. So I guess the message that I'm trying to leave with you on this is that you shouldn't be afraid to see if someone would work for you as a partner or an interest, because that's all that a lot of people desire, is proper connection to each other. So if anything, you're also doing them a favor by giving them an option, and if they don't want that option, that's okay. So anyways, that's the end of what I wanted to really talk about for the main topic of this video, but I figured you guys might also just be interested in what's been going on with me, so I'll try my best to kind of summarize a little bit of that. Outside of the main things I've talked about, this year started off with me being pretty determined to go towards my end goal, which was to go into psychiatry, but now that I've been thinking longer and more about it, I feel disheartened by a lot of things in that community and in my ability to get into that role. So I've also realized that I feel more jaded towards living in the United States, so I've been really putting a serious amount of consideration into what life would be like for me if I was in Europe. And that's a difficult thing to think about, and honestly I'd argue that it's a taboo thing. A lot of people inside of the US never really consider immigration, and it's usually wrong to, because the US is supposed to be the greatest country in the world, but I think a lot of people aren't understanding the fact that this society isn't for everybody. It only works for the specific people that benefit from it, and being in the position that I've been in for a lot of my life, I don't benefit from it. So I've been looking around at places, and I've been thinking about planning my life around that as my end goal, because I think I would live a much happier life somewhere in Europe compared to here in the US. And it gives me an opportunity to experience a side of life that I never have before. I really enjoy, for example, learning languages, so I would be forced into doing that. I don't know, it feels like the American society is designed to drain any excitement and interest out of me possible at the moment, and also a lot of political things going on at the moment, which I know that that's not secluded to just the US. There's a lot of places all over the world that have a lot of the same issues, but particularly in the US, of course, because I live here, I can see these issues much more than most other places in the world. So there's been that. I also, unfortunately, got really addicted to caffeine again. I feel like many legal addictions aren't taken as seriously because they're not something such as hard drugs, but I think that these things do deserve more attention. So I'd stopped drinking caffeine for the most part in about May of this year. So maybe every week or two I would have one coffee, if even. I remember I actually stopped drinking coffee for about 2 months straight. But then I had one cup and then another, and nowadays I usually have 2 a day, and they're usually pretty slap full of espresso and like all of the milligrams of caffeine possible. The one good thing I can say is I've never been an energy drink person. I've just never tried them, and I've pretty much vowed to never do so, because I know that if I started drinking energy drinks, it'd probably be almost impossible for me to stop. But it doesn't mean that I haven't found other ways. Like, honestly, I'm probably going to go get something with caffeine after this video, just because I feel like it's something I need, which isn't very good. But I guess part of the reason I became reliant on it is because I started sleeping a lot less recently as well. Over the past couple of weeks, I've pretty much gotten about 4 hours of sleep a night, except for today, and that's only because I decided to skip my classes in favor of getting sleep, which overall, it's not a great thing, but I think it was the right decision. I feel like I actually stand a chance at making it through the rest of this week. So all of those things in combination has kind of led me to start being more depressed lately. I've also never really been a person to consider, the ultimatum that depression often leads to, but that doesn't mean that I've been in a great place just because I haven't reached that point. And if there's anybody here who ever has, I genuinely am extremely sorry to hear that, and I hope that you've gotten the help that you deserve, and that you're able to see the positivity in life now, because while I am in this condition, I understand that there are things in life worth living for, and at the very least, that keeps me going, just at a slower pace than I should be. But I feel like doing things like coming here and talking really helps me because it feels like I'm providing something beneficial, that there's still a reason for me to be here. So anyways, I'm not going to talk about that forever because I feel like if I start on it, then I probably actually will. But it's been slowing down. But at the same time, I think I'll be able to get out of this small pothole that I found myself in. And if I find more opportunities to upload here, I really do want to, because I love the support that you guys are able to give me, and I love being able to give you guys support as well. I care about seeing you guys interact here, and I care about how you are doing, and I'm hoping that you're able to also find good things in life. So, I guess I'm ending this video on a bit of a weirder note than my other ones, but I feel like it was required since I kind of just vanished with very little explanation. But again, thank you guys so much if you're still here, and I really appreciate it. As I always say, if there's anything that you really want to hear, or if you have some kind of suggestion, a story to talk about, you can leave it in the comments, and I might address it in the next video. If I'm being honest with you guys, just from looking at my schedule, it might be about another month again before I'm able to come back. I really can't tell you, but if I'm able to come back sooner, I'm really going to make an effort to, because I want to be here. So I hope you guys don't feel like I just left you in the dust. But anyways, that's all I have really. So thank you guys.